Today we are looking at three crucial elements of success. They are motivation, goals, and rewards. Motivation comes from within. However, it can be encouraged from an outside source. A completed goal needs to have a reward. That reward can be something big or small. It just has to be something that gets you moving. I am combining these three elements, motivation, goals, and rewards, into one video. I will make another video each about motivation and goals. I don't see the need for a separate video on rewards, but we'll see. Welcome to the channel, my fellow success seekers. My name is Rex Reason, and this is A Reason to Succeed. As a special education teacher, I learned to employ outside motivational tactics to encourage my students to complete or master a task. My students, while mentally challenged, still will work for a tangible reward. I can't tell you how many of my colleagues would initially criticize me for bribing my students. I've heard over and over, you shouldn't have to bribe students to do their work. They should just do it. To this I agree. However, most of my students don't. A conversation similar to the following would inevitably take place as I would make my case with my fellow educators. Do you enjoy teaching? Of course. Why do you teach? I want to have an impact on my students and help them prepare for their future lives. That is admirable, but that's not the main reason you teach. What do you mean? Do you teach for free? Of course not. So you teach to earn a paycheck? Well, not exactly. So if the school district stopped paying you, would you keep on teaching? Of course not. I have bills to pay. So even though you want to impact your students, if there wasn't an incentive/bribe, i.e. a paycheck, you wouldn't be teaching. Well, I guess not. Well, my students are like you. Without a tangible payoff/reward/bribe, whatever you want to call it, they're not going to work hard to accomplish anything either. I see your point. Now, am I trying to be smart or belittle my colleagues? No. I'm in the same boat as they are. I just want to share a different perspective. Most will generally agree with me by the end of the conversation, but not all. On those occasions, we agree to disagree. Fortunately, none of my principals or parents have objected to this strategy. That was a bit of a rabbit trail. So let's get back to the subject of motivating yourself with a future reward. The only way that this will work is if the reward you have set for your goal completion is something that you really, really, really want. The following is a true story about a 19-year-old mentally disabled student that learned to tie his shoes. When discussing goals with his mother, I asked, if there was only one thing I could teach your son to do this year, what would it be? Without hesitation, she replied that if all he learned to do this year was to tie his shoes, she would be ecstatic. A little background. I had worked with this student for several years, and we had tried numerous methods to get him to learn to tie his shoes, but to no avail. This story took place approximately 10 years into my teaching career, as I was just starting to consistently experiment with tangible rewards. The next day, I sat down with the student, and during a casual conversation, I asked him, "What's your favorite treat?" He told me he liked boiled peanuts. So what do you think I did with that information? That's right. I went out and bought the biggest can of boiled peanuts I could find, and I placed them on a table in the middle of the classroom. The next day, the following exchange took place. "What's those?" "Can of boiled peanuts." "What you gonna do with them?" "Nothing." "Can I have them?" "You sure can, but you have to tie your own shoes first." I can't do that. Sure you can. You can't do it now, but I'll help you learn how, and then you can take the peanuts home with you. Do you want the boiled peanuts? Yes. Then let's get started. Don't miss the fact that his mother's goal had now become his goal. To achieve a goal, it must become yours and not someone else's. I practiced with him a little bit every day for the next couple of days. When he became frustrated, we would stop, and I'd point to that can of boiled peanuts and remind him that when he tied his shoes, he could take them home. I also employed a little bit of visualization with him and had him think about how good those boiled peanuts were going to taste and that he was going to have that great big can of them all for himself. 3 days after the can of boiled peanuts showed up in my room, my student walked into the classroom with a huge Cheshire cat grin on his face. That's quite a big smile you have there this morning. I'ma get them peanuts today. Can you tie your shoes all by yourself? Yep. Show me. The student sat down in a chair, untied his shoes, and then commenced to tie them again. When he was finished, he looked up at me with a sense of accomplishment, anticipation, and a huge "I'm a-eatin' peanuts tonight" smile upon his face. Do I get them now? You sure do. You can take them home with you today. A short interjection. My method of teaching didn't change, but his motivation sure did. Does your mother know you can tie your shoes now? Nope. Let's surprise her today when she comes to pick you up. When the student's mom came to pick him up that afternoon, he proudly said, "Look what I can do, Mama." He then proceeded to untie and then retie his shoes. His mother, now in shock, broke down and started crying tears of joy. She hugged him, and then she hugged me, while thanking me profusely. She then wanted to know how he learned to tie his shoes in such a short period of time. I pointed to the can of peanuts and said, "Motivation." I then proceeded to explain to her that I made a deal with her son that as soon as he could tie his shoes, I would give him that big can of boiled peanuts. Mom and son walked out of my classroom that day, each with something they both wanted. She with a sense of pride and gratitude that her son could now tie his shoes, and he with a huge can of boiled peanuts. I also had a sense of accomplishment, and I learned that a meaningful reward can motivate a person to accomplish a goal. Now for a little analysis to help you employ this technique. There are several theories on how to use these techniques in conjunction with setting goals. Use whatever works best for you. You will know what works for you and what doesn't very quickly. If it pushes you to action, then it is working. If not, you'll have to tweak the reward until it does. Here are 5 steps you can use to help you with this new task. 1. Determine your goal. Give yourself a realistic goal and a time frame to complete the goal. 2. Think of a reward that will motivate you to complete the goal. 3. Get a picture of the reward and place it in a place where you will regularly see it, i.e. a mirror, the refrigerator, etc. 4. Work at the goal and don't reward yourself until you complete the goal. Do, I repeat, do reward yourself once you've completed your goal. Here is a simple sample goal. By the end of the week, I will learn 6 new sign language signs. My reward will be a bowl of butter pecan ice cream, because I really like butter pecan ice cream. My action plan will be to use an online program to learn 1 new sign per day. I will practice the new sign several times that day and use it in a conversational setting with a student or one of the ASL interpreters. And then I will test for mastery. If successful, eat some ice cream. If unsuccessful, reset the goal and work harder to complete the goal and gain the reward. If you have never set goals before, these 5 steps can help you get started. Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Just remember, the goal must be realistic. Making a goal is simple, so don't overthink it. Obviously, this goal is a short-term goal. Short-term goals are less than a year. Mid-range goals are 1 to 5 years. Long-range goals are 5 years and longer. Start off with some short-term goals and then add some mid-range goals and long-range goals after you've had some success with the short-term goals. Keep it simple and do not try to do too much and end up overwhelmed and frustrated. Remember, this is to help you and not discourage you. There you have it, my fellow success seekers. These 3 elements, motivation, goals, and rewards, are key elements on your road to success. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree? If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more engaging content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a dose of inspiration. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, this is Rex Reason, signing off.